Imagine you're in a room full of people. Some radiate confidence, others shrink into the shadows. What makes the difference? Why do some men command respect while others are dismissed without a second thought? Niccolò Machiavelli, the 16th century master of power and strategy, had a knack for spotting weakness in men before they even opened their mouths. His timeless insights rooted in human nature reveal three behaviors that instantly expose a man's lack of strength: mental, emotional, or social. These aren't just flaws. They're flashing neon signs that scream vulnerability to anyone paying attention. Want to know what they are? More importantly, want to know how to spot them or avoid them yourself? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into Machiavelli's identification tactics, peeling back the layers of human behavior to reveal what separates the strong from the weak in a world that rewards power and punishes fragility. This script will unpack these three behaviors with razor-sharp clarity, blending Machiavelli's wisdom with real-world examples, psychological insights, and practical advice. Whether you're looking to strengthen yourself, navigate tricky social dynamics, or simply understand the game of power, this 10,000-word journey will leave you armed with knowledge to thrive in any arena. Part 1. Understanding Machiavelli's lens. On weakness. Who was Machiavelli? Niccolò Machiavelli wasn't just a political philosopher, he was a student of human nature. Writing in the turbulent Renaissance era, his seminal work, The Prince, laid bare the mechanics of power, influence, and survival. Machiavelli didn't sugarcoat reality. He saw the world as a battlefield where strength, cunning, and perception determined who rose and who fell. His identification tactics weren't about physical might, but about the subtler, more devastating weaknesses that undermine a man's ability to lead, persuade, or endure. Machiavelli believed weakness isn't just a personal failing, it's a liability that others exploit. In his view, weak men aren't just ineffective, they're dangerous to themselves and those around them because they invite manipulation and defeat. By studying his insights, we can identify the behaviors that expose weakness and learn how to cultivate the traits of strength that command respect. Why these behaviors matter. In today's world, power dynamics haven't changed much since Machiavelli's time. Whether in the boardroom, the dating scene, or a casual conversation, certain behaviors signal weakness instantly. These aren't just quirks. They're patterns that erode trust, diminish influence, and make you an easy target. By understanding and avoiding these behaviors, you can project strength, build resilience, and navigate life's challenges with the confidence of a prince. Let's dive into the three behaviors that Machiavelli's tactics expose as instant markers of weakness in men. Each section will explore the behavior, why it's a liability, how it manifests in modern life, and how to counter it with strength. Part 2. Behavior number 1. Seeking constant validation. The telltale sign of insecurity. Machiavelli warned that a man who craves approval from others is like a castle with no walls, open to attack from all sides. Seeking constant validation is the first behavior that exposes a weak man. It's the need to be liked, praised, or reassured at every turn, a desperate hunger for external approval that betrays a lack of inner conviction. Why is this so damning? Because it signals you don't trust your own judgment. If you're constantly fishing for compliments, asking for opinions, or bending over backward to please others, you're handing them the reins to your self-worth. Machiavelli would argue that a man who depends on others to feel good about himself is no man at all. He's a puppet, easily swayed and easily broken. How it manifests in modern life. Picture this. Jake, a mid-level manager, is pitching an idea in a meeting. Instead of presenting with confidence, he peppers his speech with phrases like, "Does that make sense?" Or, "What do you guys think?" every few sentences. He's not seeking feedback. He's begging for validation. His colleagues sense his insecurity, and the room's respect for him dwindles. By the end of the meeting, his idea is shot down, not because it was bad, but because he didn't sell it with conviction. Or consider social media, where validation seeking runs rampant. Men who post endless selfies, beg for likes, or overshare personal struggles in hopes of sympathy are broadcasting their weakness. They're not sharing to connect. They're pleading for someone to tell them they're enough. Machiavelli would scoff at this. Noting that a prince doesn't beg for approval, he commands it through action and presence. The psychology behind it. Psychologically, validation seeking stems from low self-esteem and an external locus of control. People with an external locus believe their worth depends on others' opinions, not their own actions or values. Studies, like those from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, 2018, show that individuals who seek excessive reassurance often struggle with anxiety and decision-making as they're paralyzed without external input. This creates a vicious cycle. The more they seek validation, the less others respect them, which fuels their insecurity further. Why, it's a liability. Machiavelli knew that power rests on perception. If you're seen as needy or uncertain, others will exploit that weakness. In negotiations, a validation seeker might concede too much to gain approval. In relationships, they might tolerate disrespect to avoid conflict. In leadership, they'll fail to inspire because no one follows a man who doesn't believe in himself. Weakness invites predation, whether it's a rival undercutting you or a partner losing respect. How to counter it? Cultivate inner strength. To avoid this behavior, you must build an internal foundation of confidence. Here's how. Develop self-awareness. Reflect on your values and strengths. Journaling or meditation can help you clarify what you stand for, reducing the need for external validation. Practice decisiveness. Make small decisions without seeking input. Over time, trust in your judgment will grow, and you'll rely less on others' opinions. Embrace silence. In conversations, resist the urge to fill silence with validation-seeking questions. Let your words stand on their own. Focus on action, not praise. Measure your worth by what you accomplish, not what others say. A man who builds something valuable doesn't need applause. He knows its worth. Machiavelli would advise, act as if you are enough, and others will believe it. By rooting your confidence in your own principles and achievements, you project the kind of strength that others naturally respect. Part 3. Behavior number 2. Avoiding responsibility. The mark of a coward. The second behavior Machiavelli would zero in on is avoiding responsibility. A weak man dodges accountability, blames others for his failures, and shies away from challenges that test his mettle. In The Prince, Machiavelli emphasized that a leader must face reality head-on, owning both successes and failures. To shirk responsibility is to admit you're not up to the task. A death knell for any man seeking respect or power. This behavior isn't just about laziness, it's about fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of being exposed as inadequate. A man who avoids responsibility is signaling to the world that he can't handle pressure, and in Machiavelli's world, that's as good as waving a white flag. How it manifests in modern life. Consider Tom, a guy in his late 20s who's stuck in a dead-end job. When his boss asks why a project missed its deadline, Tom points fingers. The team didn't deliver, or I didn't have enough resources. He never admits his role in the failure, nor does he step up to fix it. Over time, his colleagues see him as unreliable, and promotions pass him by. Tom's avoidance of responsibility keeps him stagnant, a classic weak man in Machiavelli's eyes. Or think of personal relationships. A man who ghosts a partner instead of addressing conflict, or who blames his ex for every breakup without self-reflection, is dodging responsibility. This behavior doesn't just ruin relationships, it erodes his own growth. By refusing to own his mistakes, he stays trapped in a cycle of immaturity and weakness. The psychology behind it. Avoiding responsibility often ties to a fear of failure or a fixed mindset, as described by psychologist Carol Dweck. People with a fixed mindset believe their abilities are static, so they avoid challenges that might expose their flaws. A 2020 study in personality and individual differences found that individuals who shirk responsibility tend to have lower resilience and higher stress levels, as they're constantly running from problems rather than solving them. Why it's a liability. Machiavelli knew that power requires action. A man who avoids responsibility cedes control to others, becoming a bystander in his own life. In the workplace, he's overlooked for leadership roles. In relationships, he's seen as unreliable or immature. In crises, he crumbles while stronger men step up. This behavior doesn't just expose weakness, it ensures you stay weak, as you never face the challenges that build character. How to counter it? Embrace accountability. To break this habit, you must lean into responsibility, even when it's uncomfortable. Here's how. Own your mistakes. When you screw up, admit it. A simple, "I messed up and here's how I'll fix it," earns more respect than a dozen excuses. Take initiative. Volunteer for challenging tasks, even if you're not sure you'll succeed. The act of trying builds confidence and competence. Learn from failure. Instead of fearing mistakes, treat them as lessons. Analyze what went wrong and how you can improve. Set clear goals. Responsibility is easier when I define what you want to achieve and hold yourself accountable to it. Machiavelli would say, "A prince doesn't run from battle, he charges into it." By embracing responsibility, you transform challenges into opportunities to prove your strength. Part 4. Behavior. Number 3. Lack of emotional control. The Achilles heel of weakness. The third behavior that exposes a weak man is a lack of emotional control. Machiavelli stressed that a leader must be a master of his emotions, projecting calm and resolve even in chaos. A man who lets anger, fear, or despair dictate his actions is like a ship without a rudder, adrift and vulnerable to every storm. Emotional control isn't about suppressing feelings, it's about channeling them effectively. A weak man lashes out, sulks, or panics, revealing his inability to handle pressure. In Machiavelli's view, this is the ultimate betrayal of weakness, as it shows you're ruled by circumstances, not by your own will. How it manifests in modern life. Imagine Mike, a guy who loses his temper during a heated argument with his girlfriend. Instead of staying calm and addressing the issue, he yells, storms out, or worse, says things he later regrets. His lack of emotional control doesn't just escalate the fight, it makes her lose respect for him. Over time, his outbursts define him as volatile and weak. Or consider a professional setting. During a high-stakes presentation, a man who stammers, sweats, or freezes under pressure signals to everyone that he's not in control. His anxiety takes the wheel, and his credibility plummets. Even in everyday life, men who sulk over criticism, panic in crises, or let jealousy consume them are exposing their fragility to the world. The psychology behind it, emotional dysregulation, often stems from poor self-regulation skills, which can be influenced by upbringing, stress, or unaddressed trauma. Research from the American Psychological Association 2021 shows that individuals with low emotional intelligence struggle to manage stress and maintain relationships as their emotions override rational thinking. This makes them predictable and easy to manipulate, exactly what Machiavelli warned against. Why? It's a liability. A man who can't control his emotions is a liability in any high-stakes environment. In leadership, his outbursts undermine trust. In relationships, his volatility breeds instability. In negotiations, his transparency makes him an easy mark. Machiavelli would argue that emotions are a tool, not a master. If you let them rule you, you're handing your power to anyone who can push your buttons. How to counter it? Master your emotions. Building emotional control takes practice, but it's a skill that transforms how others perceive you. Here's how to start. Pause before reacting. When emotions surge, take a deep breath and count to 5. This simple act gives you space to choose your response. Practice stoicism. Adopt the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control, your actions, and letting go of what you can't. This reduces emotional reactivity. Develop emotional awareness. Name your emotions as they arise, e.g., I'm feeling angry. Labeling emotions, as shown in a 2019 Nature study, reduces their intensity. Channel emotions productively. Use anger to fuel determination, fear to sharpen focus, or sadness to deepen empathy. Emotions are energy. Direct them wisely. Machiavelli would counsel, a prince's strength lies in his mastery of self. By controlling your emotions, you project an unshakable presence that commands respect and deters manipulation. Part 5. Bringing it all together, the path to strength. Why these behaviors matter, now more than ever. In a world of constant scrutiny, social media, workplace politics, competitive dating, these 3 behaviors are more visible and more costly than ever. Seeking validation, avoiding responsibility, and lacking emotional control aren't just personal flaws. They're public advertisements of weakness. Machiavelli's tactics remind us that strength isn't about being flawless. It's about projecting confidence, owning your actions, and staying composed under pressure. Real-world applications. Let's apply these lessons to a hypothetical scenario. Meet Alex, a 30-year-old entrepreneur pitching his startup to investors. If Alex seeks validation by constantly asking, "Do you like this idea?" he undermines his pitch. If he dodges responsibility by blaming his team for past failures, investors lose trust. If he panics under tough questions, his credibility crumbles. But if Alex projects confidence, owns his mistakes, and stays calm, he walks away with the funding and their respect. This applies everywhere. In dating, a man who doesn't need constant reassurance, takes responsibility for his role in conflicts, and stays composed during disagreements is magnetic. In leadership, these traits inspire teams and deter rivals. In life, they build a reputation as a man who can be trusted to handle anything. The Machiavellian mindset. Machiavelli didn't believe in perfection. He believed in pragmatism. You don't need to eliminate every trace of these behaviors overnight. Start small. Catch yourself seeking validation and pause. Take responsibility for one mistake this week. Practice staying calm in a tense moment. Over time, these small acts compound into a persona of strength. Final thoughts. Become the prince. Machiavelli's identification tactic isn't just about spotting weakness in others, it's about rooting it out in yourself. The three behaviors: seeking validation, avoiding responsibility, and lacking emotional control are traps that undermine your power. By addressing them, you don't just avoid being a weak man, you become a formidable one. In a world that preys on vulnerability, cultivating strength is your greatest defense and your sharpest weapon. So what's your next step? Identify which of these behaviors you're most prone to and commit to one action to counter it today. The path to power starts with a single, deliberate step. Take it and let the world see you as the Prince Machiavelli knew you could be. Bonus section: practical exercises to build strength. To make this actionable, here are 3 exercises tailored to counter each behavior. These are designed to be practical, measurable, and rooted in Machiavelli's principles. Exercise 1. Break the validation. Habit. Goal. Build self-reliance by reducing external validation. Action. For 1 week, avoid asking for opinions on decisions you can make alone, e.g., what to wear, what to eat. After each decision, write down why you chose it and how it felt to trust yourself. Outcome: increased confidence in your judgment, less reliance on others' approval. Exercise 2. Own your responsibility. Goal: develop accountability by facing challenges head-on. Action: identify one mistake you've made recently, e.g., missing a deadline, arguing with a friend. Write a brief apology owning your role, then take one concrete step to fix it, e.g., reschedule the task, have a calm conversation. Outcome: greater respect from others and personal growth through accountability. Exercise 3. Master emotional control. Goal: strengthen emotional resilience under pressure. Action: practice the 5-second pause for 1 week. When you feel a strong emotion, anger, anxiety, pause for 5 seconds before responding. Use the time to breathe and choose a calm, deliberate response. Outcome: improved composure, making you harder to rattle and more respected. Conclusion: the power of self-mastery. Machiavelli's identification tactic isn't about judging others, it's about mastering yourself. The 3 behaviors that expose weak men: seeking validation, avoiding responsibility, and lacking emotional control, are pitfalls we all face, but they're also opportunities. By recognizing and countering